Hey guys, PC Guy here, and we'll be going over how to update the BIOS on your motherboard in this video. This will be specific for an Asus Maximus 11 Hero. So the BIOS UEFI that I will be showing is the Asus version, which is notably easy to navigate and to maneuver. So it's a plus. It might not apply to every motherboard out there, but the idea is the same. It kind of goes the same way, just the settings might be in different places in each BIOS. So, you might have to look around for it. Now, why should you update your BIOS? Why shouldn't you? There isn't a massive compelling argument to always keep your BIOS up to date, to be quite honest. Some versions have noticeable improvements. An example of this is when when a motherboard is first released. If you buy it close to the launch date, there might be certain optimizations that are launched in the next version or two that are absent from the factory BIOS, so to speak. So in that case, I can imagine it is very handy to upgrade. With the Z39 chipset, for example, there were some issues with power delivery and all that, and some of that got fixed in a further BIOS. So that is a compelling reason to update it at least a bit. After that, when you've had your motherboard for a few months or a year or whatever, there probably won't be many changes. There probably won't be much in the way of optimization or things that are improved. So, is it worth going through the trouble and danger of upgrading the BIOS? Perhaps not. Why should you not bother? Well, the reasons I just mentioned, and also that a BIOS is a very critical and very sensitive part of your computer, and if something goes wrong there, you could have an issue. Most of issues are fixable, some might not be. Like losing power during a BIOS is a big no-no. Uh, Flashing a bad BIOS that you either corrupted for some reason or downloaded from a not untrustworthy place is also a big no-no. So point number one, always download your BIOSes from the motherboard manufacturer. What do you need to update your BIOS other than the BIOS file that you get from the motherboard manufacturer? Obviously, pretty simple. Just a flash drive. Any flash drive will do. You just have to make sure that it is formatted to FAT32 file system. You can do that on the Windows Manager. I will actually show you how. Simply go to your computer, File Explorer, right-click on the flash drive format, FAT32, click start. I'm not going to do it because I already have stuff there and it's already formatted. So you just click start, it will be formatted, and you copy the BIOS file into that flash drive and you should be good to go. Something else you need to do is you should back up the current settings in the BIOS if you have anything modified. If you have overclocked, changed anything in the BIOS, you should back it up. Most BIOSes have a backup option that you can save the file to your USB drive. I advise saving it to the USB drive as well, because if you save it just on the normal BIOS physical memory, it also gets deleted by the BIOS update. So I would save it to a USB flash drive so you can just with one click set all your settings back to how they were in terms of overclocking, fan curves, whatever else you might have there. It will be restored completely, no problem. Without further ado, I will show you guys where to get the BIOSes, in this case mine, and how to proceed with the process. First thing you want to do is head to the BIOS website. I'll put a link in the description, and you want to head here to BIOS and firmware and select the BIOS that you want to install. As you can see, it lists what has changed from the previous BIOS, and it also gives a message to, before running the USB flashback tool, rename the BIOS file to this using BIOS Renamer. First thing you want to do is head to the Asus website and download the version of the BIOS that you want to install. After downloading it, what you want to do is you want to check your motherboard, because for example my motherboard in particularly instructs me to rename the BIOS file using the BIOS renamer.x that is included in your driver. It renames it to m11h.cap. Now what you want to do is to copy it to a USB stick that you will be using for the purpose of actually updating the BIOS. So you plug in your USB stick, which I am doing right now. There it is, and here we go. Now you are pretty much ready to go. you can close your stuff. I had a bunch of stuff open because I was having trouble connecting to the internet. And I had already backed up my files, my settings from my BIOS, because they will be wiped when you update your BIOS. I already backed it up, and I will just proceed to yeah, show you. Apologies for the blurriness from now on. I'm recording on my webcam since I cannot record the BIOS otherwise. While you're in the BIOS, head up to Tool and load/save profiles. That will let you save your settings that you currently are using and be able to recover it later, because flashing a new BIOS will erase all your profiles and other settings, even the ones that are saved. So save it to an external USB drive, like I said, and name it whatever. I just named it video example, and then you are free to exit and go actually flash your BIOS. You can do that directly here, or you can also do that in Windows. I will just let you see how you do it here. You just go there where I just went, and click, storage device, and select the image that you have right there. But for now, I'll show you guys how to do it in Windows. Normally, you could update it through Easy Update, which does not really work, and it tells you there's no internet, even though there is, and even if it would work, it would tell you that there's no version because it's never kept up to date. Other option that should work is the USB BIOS flashback. It checks for new updates, says there aren't any because it's not kept up to date with the ASUS website for some reason. And as you can see, I have the 702 and there's an 805 version. So I don't have the newest one, but it doesn't let me get it through here because it just doesn't work. Quality, I know. What I can do is go here to Easy Update on the AI Suite. Uh, here to the manually update, blah blah blah, and I can go here, and the file that I had just gotten that I was going to use, I can use this one to actually, yeah, update it manually through here as opposed to through the BIOS. So the BIOS is also fine. I just wanted to let you guys see this feature. Apologies again for the camera going out of focus now once again, but I cannot help it. Select the image of the BIOS that you want to flash, and just press, press the button to flash it. And don't forget to press flash again, like I did and was staring at the screen for a few minutes, wondering why it was taking so long. Once it is actually done, it will prompt you to restart, and it will send you back into the BIOS, which could have been avoided, to be honest. You could have just done it via the BIOS, but I wanted to show you how to do it in Windows. This process can take a few minutes and make absolutely sure that the computer does not lose power, otherwise you might have quite an issue on your hands. So don't turn it off, don't let it lose power, and pray that the power does not go out in your house. Once it is actually done, it will pop up a screen for you to actually press, I believe it was F1, to head back to the BIOS to set, whatever settings you had again. And yeah, it will pop up back there. Again, I apologize for the bad image, but this is a sort of video that I cannot re-record easily. What I did was head back to the tools and to the load/save from USB that I previously showed you. Choose load this time, obviously, and just load the file that you previously saved as a backup for your settings. After that is done, you can just head to exit, press save changes and reset, and it will restart your PC with all your previous BIOS settings and overclock settings completely intact. Now, it wasn't the easiest of processes. BIOS updates can be tricky, and you have to be extra sure that you get the right BIOS from your manufacturer's website and not from anywhere else. And yeah, try to do it as safely as possible without letting the power fall for whatever reason, because that could screw up your BIOS, perhaps to unrecoverable points that the motherboard could be bricked in the worst case scenario. There was also a small issue. As you saw, there was a small setup screen and I had a bit of trouble. But that has happened as well with the previous time I updated my BIOS, which was when I updated it, it restarts automatically and it doesn't post. It does not post at all, gets stuck on error code 04. And I let it like that for a minute or two to make sure there was nothing happening in the background, that whatever needed to happen, that happened. I turned it off, and I turned the power supply power switch completely off, and I let the system off for a couple of minutes to drain off any lingering energy that might be there. Turned it on again, pressed the button, and it booted. Uh, it did a double boot thingy that is common in this type of motherboard. It boots, does a little pre-boot test, and then it does the actual post and boot and everything else, and it was working properly, and it is working perfectly fine. So there is for the first time that I did it, it was a little bit of a scary moment, like, oh crap, I bricked my motherboard, but apparently making it a complete cold boot by turning off the power is seems to be standard required. Um, I had not encountered this before, to be quite honest, but seems to be the case for this motherboard. In the case, my BIOS is updated, the 0805 version, up from 0702. Uh, was it necessary to update my BIOS? No, I didn't really feel the need to, but I thought I should do a video for you guys about this in case someone's interested. So this is how it goes for Asus motherboard, in this case Maximus 11 Hero. Hope it has been useful for you guys, and yeah, I'll see you next time.